You're listening to Hackers IRL. We're the people the news pretends are a single character. We are not. We pop shells, walk our dogs, fight with our printers, and somehow ship the work. This show is voicemails. Brain dumps from our side of the wire about whatever's on our minds. The line stays open. Up next, Panda from Assura, the superheroes of cybersecurity. Here's their story.
Oh man, guys, it's a pretty interesting week for AI. Where do I start? So I was at a con last week, and when Mythos and Fable went live, I submitted all my stuff for approval to use it. Not that model specifically, but I did all the stuff for research with Claude. They have all kinds of new verification. If you guys don't know. Basically you fill out a form, and you can ask it, and it'll prompt you and tell you where that form is. But essentially just, tell it you want to use Claude, for security research, and it'll have you fill it out. It puts, has you put in stuff like your LinkedIn and, other, talks or research or whatever else you did. And I think all the approvals pretty automated. It generally happens within 30 minutes or a couple hours. So I actually did that before I ran the RVASec stuff on my Claude, because I was using my personal instance and I didn't want to get it flagging anything on my account. So because 4.8's been really locked down. Anyway, I didn't use Mythos last week when I had the chance to. I was super excited to use it over the weekend, and as most of you know, the government stepped in, and there was a word of a jailbreak, which I'm not surprised. And the government stepped in, and now Mythos and Mythos 5 and Fable 5 specifically have been shut out. So you're not able to use them with your Claude account. Hopefully that stuff is resolved soon and I get to play with that stuff, because I was super excited to, but I didn't want to use it when I was doing more critical things during the week. So, anyway, I have heard word that Bedrock, AWS Bedrock, may still have a version of Mythos that specifically the government mentioned Mythos 5 and Fable 5, and that, there's something called Mythos Preview that some people have access to on Bedrock. But as far as I know, the model's pretty much gone for most of us, at least for now. But it's an interesting world that we live in right now. So also huge AI news is that Claude pulled back its changes on Claude P, which is the kind of programmatic way you can run Claude prompts. So instead of having an agent up all the time, you need to run like a cron job and have a Claude P with a programmatic task kind of ready to go. So the SDK and the Claude P stuff was supposed to be charging on extra usage starting today, but it looks like Anthropic pulled that back as well. So I'm thinking that with all this, Mythos and Fable 5 usage that kind of got pulled off the table, where, I've heard some people mention that some basic tasks, or builds could spin up like 100+ agents. So I imagine that's a ton of token usage. I imagine with the delays there that, the enterprise adoption is going to be a little slower, and they have compute to burn. So they're probably, would rather have the data from everybody using Claude P than, so I guess they're hoping to have the enterprise money. So it's probably not as good in their eyes, but it's interesting. Anyway, I'm glad I'm not a part of that race, and I'm just kind of observing and using that technology. It seems like, it's kind of a race to the bottom, spending money trying to develop these crazy expensive models. It's I don't know, what a time to be alive. This is unprecedented for the government to step in like this. So we'll see where this goes. But Yeah, anyway, I hope you guys are well, and take care. Please call in, leave your stories and stuff. This podcast doesn't just have to be me. And hack the planet.
Thanks for listening to Hackers IRL. Background music is Simplicity by Macroform. If you've got a story of your own, a breach, a leak, a close call, or just something on your mind, join us. Call 904-915-HACK. That's 904-915-4225. Up to 10 minutes. Choose to preserve your OPSEC, and we distort your voice before anyone hears it. End of transmission.